All right, let's get
hopefully,
to the questions. How long before you see the benefits of prediction and observation with the metrics shown? How long does it take for metrics to gather? So, like I said, I've never done a roundtable this large. So, who wants to tackle this first, or do we want to go around the queue here?
Probably start with the ALM Octane guys.
Yeah, let's do that. Anyone want to take that from ALM Octane?
I can try. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes.
So it really depends on which metrics, right? So in some cases, we've seen customers that, for example, wanted to see their test to coverage. They have hundreds, maybe thousands of UFT tests as an example that they run, and they want to assign those to the different application modules that they define now in Octane. They run it via a continuous integration server like Jenkins, and after a few hours, they have a wow effect, and they can evaluate what's working, what's not for them, and what to do next in their UFT efforts. There are other metrics which might take weeks or even months to measure and optimize, especially if it's about trends and improvements in velocity of development. So it really depends on the metrics that you need to that you define to yourself, I would say.
Next question is, so earlier, I don't know how many people are on here. Someone asked about how recently Micro Focus changed from the Magic Quadrant to their position. So I think someone wanted to address this a little bit more. Archie, any more details on that you want to share with the folks?
We got this question earlier in today, and just wanted to assure the customers that we have a very packed, innovative agenda. Sometimes the market and the analysts see innovation as being a lot more leading edge than our customers are necessarily ready to adopt. So some of the things that we know that we kind of took a hit on were lack of support for things like augmented reality and wearables and things like that. So, I just wanted to reassure, the customer and the community base that, we are solely focused on the needs of our customers. And, I tell our staff that we have to manage kind of a triangle. There's what we want to do, what we have to do based on our customers, and then what we actually can do. And we're constantly trying to strike that balance. And, if Gartner sees it differently, but our customers are happy, we're okay with that. And I think we had an exciting year. Like I said earlier, we can't disclose too much on our results yet, but they will be out soon. But I think it was a very strong year for at least the performance business. I mean, for the functional business as well as performance, and ADM as a whole. And I'm quite certain that with the advancements in AI, the advancements in RPA, the things that we're doing across the whole portfolio when it comes to analytics and sort of advanced prediction, our customers are going to be fairly happy with what they're seeing. So just wanted to clarify that across the board, because in our opinion, we want to be focused on what the customers need and not necessarily wider open market advancements.
Absolutely. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of this new initiatives until this conference. So I'm blown away by what you all have done. So it's definitely, if you're an existing customer, this is the place to be for sure. It's a great ecosystem.
Yeah, cool. I'd just add to that as well, actually.
Go, Jonathan.
The Gartner process. I spoke to the analysts quite recently, and I think this was going to be the last year they were going to do that particular type of quadrant. And we're doing an ITOM session, an ITOM event next week. So we're running the same thing, but we're focusing on let's call it on the right-hand side, on the IT operations. And I see, where there's really strong capabilities like the Micro Focus RPA, they're marrying the two product sets together. So you're leveraging the power on the left-hand side with the development, marrying that up with the incredible power on the right-hand side to really kind of, disrupt the market completely. So, this business process automation and capabilities that they've got with the IT operations tools is, I think is a game changer.
All right. First question we have here about performance is from Richard. He wants to know, I'm seeing lots of people who are new to testing or former manual functional testers being asked to run performance tests. what training would you recommend to develop the skills of new performance testers to help them bring value to organizations where they work?
Yes, so I will definitely recommend to start looking, of course, in our trainings, the ones that we offer, provided by Microfocus. They are a great start, not only to get familiar with the products, since our products are the leader in the markets, and of course we see a lot of companies already using our products, but also they will provide a good overview in regards of the market trends that you will see, and also how the performance is changing over the years and what it will be required just to update your knowledge in those in the performance domain. I also get a lot of questions around what's the best place to get information, if not, of course, proprietary by Microfocus. I would like to update the fact that we also have the community and the forums, their social media, where we actively provide support, information. We share best practices, tips and tricks in regards to performance and how to do performance in the new era, and how, of course, you can also adjust to the different trends that we see in the market.
Awesome. Thank you, Vicky. So this is a free-for-all. If anyone wants to jump in, jump in. If not, I'll just go to the next question. I'll give you like a second to get your thoughts together before I get to the next question.
So I'll just add to that. I think, first of all, it's a good question and good answer, Vicky. Thank you.
Yeah.
We had a question from an analyst a while back saying, what do you do when it comes to shift left performance testing, or what do you do when it comes to, center of excellence performance testing? And we said we don't necessarily see a marked difference, right? Performance testing is performance testing, and when you do it at scale or load, you want to understand what's happening. But the burden is on us to make sure that we can adapt the environment to meet the needs of whatever practitioner we're going after. So, we don't necessarily want a dev tester to have to go through a whole bunch of training to figure out how to become a professional performance tester. What we want to do is make sure that they have the facilities and the ability within their comfort zone, which is typically the IDE, to generate right from there, right? So it's going to be a balance. There absolutely should be some best practice trainings, but at the same time, the burden's on us to make sure that we can adapt the environment. And I think what you're going to see upcoming, I know there was a session earlier about the combined functional and performance plans that we've got, but I think you'll see when you start seeing the IDE resident plugins that we've got for the tools and some of the advancements we're making there, that should strike that balance pretty well.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd add to that as well. I
Good job.
program the UK on for Brexit using the load runner tool sets, which are incredibly powerful, and this ability to kind of learn from the right hand side of what people are doing, how they're using the actual products, and then be able to model that using the things like the performance application lifecycle capabilities, PAL, which are built into load runner. And Todd DiCaprio, who's one of the board members for Vivid, did a great book while he was working with the Microfocus guys called Effective Performance Engineering, and it's a free book to download from O'Reilly. It was sponsored by Hewlett Packard Enterprise, and it was all around load runner and the different measurements you can look at. So I'll add that link in because I'd highly recommend that. And it's there's some really mature, great practices in there. It's a great place to start.
Awesome. All right, next question. I'm a manual tester. What should be my key takeaways from this event the question just changed. Could each of you share one tip to future-proof ourselves and organizations in prep for the ADM world to come? So let's go around the rim. Anyone want to kick it off? One tip to future-proof ourselves and organizations?
Let me start with ALM. Similar to what Archie said, I think that the latest capabilities that we have across the products portfolio, but definitely in ALM, is astonishing. I urge our customers to update or upgrade to our latest and greatest and see capabilities. it will help them with their transformation into Agile and DevOps, and optimizing the investment that they already have in the assets that they have developed and the integration of AM tools with the broader ecosystem.
Awesome. So, Aran, with AI, do we need to prepare for this as well? Is this something that we should be prepared for, losing our jobs with AI? What are your thoughts?
I don't think that we need to prepare to lose our jobs, but the other way around, because I truly believe that having our AI infused to our functional testing solution, performance, as well as lifecycle management will allow us to do and to concentrate on what really matters rather than spending our time wasting it on, preparing the environments, creating multiple scripts for the same purpose, and so on and so forth. So as previously said in the session, I truly believe that we are opening a new era by infusing AI capabilities into our portfolio.
Very cool. So Renato, people are doing functional testing. Is there anything they need to be thinking about, the way they change, the way they use the tools for functional testing based on the improvements you've made over the year or so?
That's a good question. Well, I think it's about understanding that functional is actually broadening its perspectives, right? So you have what used to be a center of excellence and a set of skills for working with functional testing. You should expect that other people are going to get involved. And when they do so, they have different skill sets and they require different tools. So in our case, as Aran had pointed out in his session, we are heavily investing in AI to actually bring the non-technical guys to contribute to automation. They are the majority. So how can manual testers help us improve automation coverage? So we're using AI for that. And at the same time, we have to look at what's going on the shift to left side and how can we make QA and development work better together. One thing that we see consistent across all of them is the increased penetration of omni-channel applications, right? Which leads to multiple form factors, multiple platforms. So mobile becomes a very important platform for people offering products and services. So we are heavily invested on that. And that's one of the reasons why we started our AI initiative around that, because we believe the future is much more broader when it comes to mobile and other things than desktops. But I would say be aware of the multicultural, multi-skill sets. Be also very aware that mobile is by far the most and broadest penetration or platform that we're going to have.
Great. And Vicky, I know with performance testing, there's a lot of changes, a lot of integration, pretty cool with Gatling and things like that. Anything people need to prepare for as we go into 2020 with this kind of dev-friendly performance integrations you've worked on?
Absolutely. So first of all, just to reinforce the fact that I believe there is still room for developers and performance engineers in the way on how they will work together. This is actually the major theme that we will have for FY20, and it's how actually we enable the collaboration between the developers and the Center of Excellence and the performance engineers. Our products are changing. We are listening to our customers. We are listening to the market, and this is why the products has been adjusted. So our goal is actually to have the performance products become a single shop for execution and analysis, since we, of course, are the best in the market when it comes to those capabilities. So it doesn't matter the way on how the script is recorded. It can be used in our own proprietary IDE. It can be done with the new load runner developer that runs on any IDE multi-platform, great product. Or either it can be done with one of our competitors, Gatling, JMeter, Selenium, you name it. Pretty much we are going to be able to run all those scripts just to ensure end-to-end performance testing with, once again, highly scalability, the ability to generate load for multiple geographic locations, to drill down into each of those specific locations, and of course the advanced analytics that we are always being recognized as the leaders in the market from the past, plus the new concept that we will have with the chair analysis, where we can actually, we will be able to pretty much normalize and centralize all the data coming from different sources in an effort just to be more flexible and also to provide the different templates, reports, and dashboards that it will satisfy the different personas that now we will see are taking part of the performance testing landscape. So it's pretty exciting for the performance engineers, but also for the developers. And now I truly believe that we have a product that it will be able to satisfy each one of the personas that, again, are taking part in the performance business.
Very cool. And I apologize. Tali has someone replacing her for this session. I didn't get the name. So
yes, I'm Oren. Yeah, here for
Oren?
Tali and Oren. O-R-E-N.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you, Oren. So any thoughts?
Is here. So I would say that from talks that we have with customers daily, we believe that QA engineers are becoming more and more closer to dev and becoming actually QA dev. They need to really understand the new world and the world of Agile, the world of DevOps. And while many of those will keep doing what they did for the last 10 years maybe, and they'll keep doing manual testing and all that, many of those will be required to adapt to the new world of automation, of continuous integration, continuous testing. And for that, we bring the bimodal concept of ALM Quality Center that will, as probably regulated world, side by side with the Octane, which comes to serve the new world for which those guys will have to adapt.
Very cool. Okay, next question.
Can I just a few shameless plugs before we move on? So the first one I'd like to add in is around the Universe events. So, I met Joe at a Universe event in London. And I think it's a great way to actually meet people and meet your peers and actually, share stories and get connections. Obviously, there's one going to be run in the US next year and in Amsterdam in the UK, across EMEA. So that would be my first tip. The second one would be around some of the great Micro Focus content that's available on demand. So we've actually moved all our webinars from Vivid onto YouTube, so you can actually download those and watch those. So if you want to learn more about specialist interest topic like performance engineering or automation, there's plenty of great content there. There's great content on the Micro Focus community sites, which I'd recommend checking out. A slightly shameless plug for yourself, Joe, in the sense of, I was listening to the Test Guild podcasts today. And, there's a lot of practitioners out there sharing great stories. So, there's this community out there, especially Vivid, who are here to support you all the way through your ADM journey.
Awesome. Great advice. Okay. Let's go back to the question here. Question is, as a manual tester, what should be my key takeaways from this event, as seemingly many topics had some form of automation at their core? Interesting. So Vicky, not picking on people, I just want to get people, for people that do performance testing, is there any manual activities they can do, not necessarily go right to the tools to help with performance?
That's an interesting question. So let's see. I would definitely recommend for the people to get familiar with the application under test and the business process and what are the steps that are involved, and also to get familiar on what's our goal. What do we want to do performance? So once I have a better understanding of my goal, what I'm going to achieve, what's the business process, then it will be easier for me just to take one of the tools and then create scripts and be able to simulate scenarios. Of course, that as soon as they get closer to the reality, it's way better. But I definitely think that it's important just to understand overall what's the goal, again, what am I trying to get out of this before, of course, I can start learning any particular product. So if I get a good understanding of what's performance, what is important, and so on. And definitely I can relate, and I can definitely concentrate my focus towards on how can improve the performance, and of course to identify those problems.
Great. And Omar, with Octane, is there anything that's built in, of course, to help manual testers as they're trying to get their head around, different activities that they need to accomplish in their sprints?
Yes, and actually, although ALM Octane focus on automation in various way, one of the first features that we released to the market 2.5 years ago was manual testing. The ability to create a test, define the steps with versioning and so on, and run it and to mark it as it has failed or passed. I do think that manual will stay forever. It's a matter of determining which parts of the application needs to be automated and invest the time in those areas versus the other parts which will stay manual forever. And the QA management should be done on both areas, functional, automated, whether it's functional performance, security, and so forth, and manual, and to make sure that the overall testing effort is bringing the right results, the expected results, and it is being optimized as time goes by.
Awesome. Ron, I know with AI, we talked a little bit about visual differences. You actually need a real user to look at the differences to say whether or not it's a real issue or not. Is this some way you could see manual testers adding value as we move towards more AI-based solutions?
Yes, absolutely. But, before I answer this one, I think we all heard Tali earlier today where she is saying manual is here to stay, in which I guess that everyone here on the event would agree with that statement. Because eventually when you need to first to do like a feature testing where it's introduced for the first time, probably the best way to do it is in a manual manner. And later on, as Omer said just before, once you understand that this is an area where you need to automate it, then it comes to discussion, okay, so if I need to automate it, what would be the best way to do it? And then what we are looking at by providing our AI capabilities, and those were presented earlier today in my session, it's the NLP capabilities, the natural language processing. And one of the things that we carefully looked at is, okay, so now that we have the manual scripts in place, what it will take in order to automate those, assuming those are the ones we want to automate. And one of the capabilities that we are looking at nowadays is, can we take manual tests as they are, and in a very simple way, making those an automated one. So I do believe that future-wise, this is the direction where we are going to adopt the more of the NLP capabilities. Now, as for the visual comparisons and things like that, I do believe that AI has its place, but probably we will look at that from a less than a pure functional testing, but more of user experience and UX things that can help us to determine whether if what we see on the application test, this is what really was planned initially, which is another angle of kind of a functional testing. So I would say that, yes, manual is here to stay. And looking how to automate those, we will use the optimization capabilities that we're going to get from Octane, plus the NLP capabilities that will help us to get there.
Awesome. So Renato, you deal with functional testing all the time. Obviously, people are always afraid of automation. Is there any areas you see within functional testing that manual testers can add value as we make this? Go ahead.
Absolutely. I think there are multiple, right? I think Iran, well said, Iran, is initially the whole NLP approach is to actually allow manual testers, because there are some tests that we believe can be easily verified through the UI. So AI will help there. But beyond that, we cannot forget that there's all the exploratory session or exploratory testing, if you will, capabilities that we have in UFT Mobile today or Sprinter to help you actually collect evidence of your exploratory testing sessions. So you move away a little from critiquing or validating the product to more like a quality improvement, critiquing the product approach. That's one area. The other area is as you see the relevance of people working with something like behavior-driven development, right? All the scenarios, all the feature files, the manual testers are the people that understand the application really well. They are the ones that can easily describe what is the acceptance criteria for a story. So having a way to easily create those and connect those to automation easily in the future, that's another area that will help a lot. So I think when it comes to coverage, there is nobody better than an automation, than a manual tester to determine what is the coverage we need, right? What is the approach we do here to actually increase our coverage? And then if it's going to be automated, can we pick a framework where my developers can do the automation and I can work on the coverage and the description of what I need? So there are multiple angles that they can contribute. Of course, the more they learn to script or provide automation, the better. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a place and value in the existing processes or the new processes. I think there is a lot of value there.
Absolutely. And Archie, as we move towards DevOps or Micro Focus, really leading the way here, any thoughts on a manual tester's role as we move towards DevOps, so this more rapid pace type of delivery?
Well, yeah, I mean, we had talked earlier about how, there's so much chaos and so much volatility in the software development lifecycle that everybody has to play a role in testing, including those business analysts or the people that architect the overall flow of the technology, but may not necessarily know how to build the technology. So, I would classify those as manual testers, and anything we can do to get them to simply just act like an end user, but have the system in the back end kind of do all the heavy lifting to, automate or, make it so that, we are executing a functional test behind the scenes. So, I think a good start is our AI project. I think the things that Renato and Ron are working on in terms of natural language processing and the codeless environment, it's all designed to kind of take that heavy lifting out of the environment. So when someone can just say, click button, we don't have to go through all the steps of, okay, specifically which button, which element ID, dot object, dot notation, whatever. We just say click button. Right. And so I do believe that there's a place for them, and getting more people involved and lowering that effort. It's going to be a big deal for us moving forward.
Absolutely. And Oren, any thoughts around manual testers or tester the role as we go into 2020?
So as I said, I believe that manual testers will remain a very important part of the process all over. Statistics talk about 70-80% of testing around the world still manual tests, and as I said, they need to adapt to BDD, to modernize testing, and the tools are here to support both types of efforts across the team.
Awesome. So next question. I understand the idea behind AI to help free up time for testers to focus on exploratory testing, but how do we convince management that AI is doing the right thing? I know you probably all have experience talking with vendors and talking with customers, so let's start with Renato or Elron or Jonathan. Who's going here?
As I previously talked in my session, and the questions around how can we know this is a real AI, or questions like, or debates around if we can really infuse our solutions with AI, you can trust us that once we have figured out that we can infuse our solutions started with the functional testing with AI capabilities, we did tons of testing by ourselves to see that indeed this technology can serve us in the direction we are all looking at, and the direction is purely to help manual testers, to help the testing teams in general to be much more efficient in the way they are doing their stuff. At the end of the day, we are all in a digital transformation kind of a world, where we see the fast-paced releases and the frequent app changes, as I said earlier, and we need to find a way to augment our testing coverage and automation coverage. And with all the stuff that we have done in the last, I would say, decade or so, which I think was an amazing stuff on our unified functional testing and all of our solution set. Eventually, we had kind of a ceiling glass to exceed those numbers of 30% or even less than that in the automation coverage. And when I'm saying 30%, it's not just about 30% of unit testing plus integration testing plus component testing plus UI testing, but looking at the pure testing stuff, we got us evidence. And every time we talk to our customers that they are facing this challenge. Add to it the fact that those frequent app changes introduce the huge maintenance work, then you find yourself with a situation where our testing teams are occupied with more than 50% of the time dealing with tasks that are not contributing to the real business need, which is to test the application of this under test and release it to the market. And this is, and we investigated and explored for many technologies that can help us break the ceiling glass, and we did found that the AI can do the work. Now, as I told you, it's not going to be a one-time feature where we are going to announce the market, yes, we did the AI, now everyone can use it. It's going to be a journey. And this is a very important note to make. It's going to be a journey together with our customers, together with our user base. But as a market leader with thousands of customers, thousands of users, millions of scripts running on a daily basis, probably we are in the best position to lead the market with our AI engine. As I previously said, our AI probably will be the Superman tester in the market in the next 6 to 12 months from now. And that can help at the end of the day to the manual tester first, to the automation engineers, and later on to the more expanded user base.
Very cool. So Vicky, I always thought that AI would really fit in well with performance testing, especially with all the big data from logs and that are generated and just some sort of correlation. Is this an area you think could help people with their performance?
Yes, definitely. So we are looking into AI in two possible ways. So one, it's very related to what Renato and I discussed earlier in the morning in regards on how we can help to maintain the scripts easier and make it more simple. So you don't have to re-record all the scripts because there are changes in the application. So that's something that we are also exploring. There is also another area that we are looking at, which is just to leverage and to understand based on patterns in previous scripts and iterations that you have. What are those, for example, dynamic values that it will need to be correlated? So we will enhance our correlation engine, so it will be smarter. And again, it will reduce significantly the time that the performance engineer will be dedicated to enhance and correlate and to customize those scripts. So from the scripting perspective, it's very aligned with the fact that it will reduce significant, again, the maintenance of the scripts, and it will allow the performance engineer to truly focus on the important part of their jobs, which is at the end just to find those problems before going into production. And then in line with the analytics capabilities, we can also throw AI over there, and it's part of the chair analysis idea that we will work this year, and it's just to be able to leverage data that you have already because you have executed tests or because you can correlate it with different data coming from other sources, and then identify patterns and again, just to kind of forecast how your application will be behaving under certain circumstances, so you can, of course, prepare for that. So definitely there is room for AI in the context of performance, and we are definitely looking into those areas.
Awesome. So Jonathan, you're always on the cutting edge. I think you've been speaking about AI before anyone else. You are an automation cyborg. So how did you get confidence in knowing AI is actually going to help testing, and any suggestions you have convincing organizations you've worked with to buy into this AI type of approach?
Sure. So I guess, the TED talk that I did on cognitive engineering, which I realize is a few years old now, it was all about this shift right paradigm of being able to learn from what's happening on the right-hand side. And, that's where I've seen the power of the Micro Focus tool sets. We've just been through a Black Friday, and part of a lot of that was understanding what was going on in the APM tooling, and then being able to create models to work out what those volumes look like. And the same for Brexit is what would happen in a pre-Brexit world, in a post-Brexit world. things like chaos engineering coming through. And I've also spent quite a lot of time helping organizations with enterprise AI adoption. And I think, as kind of we were just alluding to, is, the misclarification rate is probably, if you get 80% is probably a generous kind of number. So what you're seeing is this augmented intelligence. So this is this ability to use human intelligence. And I think that's the role of the manual tester, or I'm not going to call them manual testers for a second, I'll call them subject matter experts or domain experts. They're the ones that can understand and add real value in this. I think this is where, tools like we'll be talking about next week at the ITOM event, like the Micro Focus RPA tool, which takes what we know as UFT and operations orchestration, which is incredibly powerful on the right-hand side, and marries the two products together. Partly that is subject matter experts understanding the flows, what the business do, and that could be across a whole stack of ecosystems. So lots of different platforms. It could be your enterprise SAP platforms. It could be Salesforce in the cloud. You've joined together all of these business processes to understand more of a holistic viewpoint. And I think this is where, those skilled people who've been in testing and in the ADM space, who've got all those fantastic subject matter expertise over the years, whether that be in healthcare or financial services, they'll be able to look at these representations and look for improvements. And I think AI will help with that. So, there's some fantastic opportunities, and I think, Micro Focus is definitely leading the way on a lot of these initiatives. I think, it'd be great to see some of the ITOM stuff next week. They've got things like Max, which is their assistant, their like Alexa, but it helps you with kind of problems in your service management area. They've got great use cases. The acquisition of Vertica gives them great power in the predictive analytics space. Last time I spoke to Jerome, it's part of, bringing all these different fantastic platforms that Micro Focus have together, and then using that data to power the next generation of solutions. So, it's exciting times. Watch this space.
Absolutely. So Archie, being a portfolio director, how do you know what to focus the energy on for functional and performance testing? Like AI, how did you know to go all in with AI, or how do you know what to invest your team's efforts in with new functionality?
Yeah, well, hey, that's the secret sauce. Like, if we were really, that's what I'm doing to figure out. But it's fairly straightforward. I mean, I'll address the AI one separately, but generally speaking, like I said earlier, it's all about our customers, right? Micro Focus has a saying where we really focus on customer-centered innovation. And sometimes people think, you guys are dealing with only legacy technologies. Well, okay, if it's important to the customer and it's important to a wide variety, enough of our customers that it makes sense to us, that's pretty easy to justify. Regarding AI, I mean, obviously, besides Iran, knocking on all of our doors for the past couple of years and bugging us to the point where we said, yes, we will do it. It was just a natural sort of next step because, we're kind of, I'm trying to find the right words. We're kind of at sort of capacity in terms of impacting automation rates globally, right? All the technology, all the fallback we have, all the open source projects that are trying to do this, they're not moving the needle, right? So AI was something that we saw can absolutely move the needle because, there's just way too much happening, way too much to test that standard technologies won't hold, right? So the AI one was an easy one, and that was just that natural next step, but it makes a lot of sense, and a lot of credit to the team for how fast they came. This time last year, we just had mock-ups and prototypes, and now we've got, a market-ready product. So more to come on this one.
No, I'm really impressed with what I've seen. You've done a lot in a year for sure. So it's really exciting times. So next question. This is actually from Paul Grossman, the Dark Arts Wizard, making his appearance. He wants to know, will UFT be able to support regex or dot height or dot width in future releases to collect visible elements? I guess, Renato, is this your wheelhouse right here?
Wait, there we go.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
Okay, I'm not on mute anymore.
Okay.
So well, I'll make a comment. Why would I expect any different question than Paul Grossman? But anyway, it's about providing different ways of identifying objects, right? We already have, for instance, regAS capability and other stuff. So if this is a formal request, please go to our user voice in our ID Exchange site, put the request there, and if there are multiple people in the world that care about the request like you, Paul, it will go up in the backlog and we'll get it done.
Awesome. All right, next question. Let's see. So someone wants to know, requirements are constantly an issue. Any tips or techniques on extracting performance needs and requirements from product owners? So Vicky, I guess that would be all you.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
They want to know, how are you able to get performance requirements out of your product owners? A lot of times they just say, make it fast, or it should be fast, but really hard to get really concrete things to actually be able to test. So any suggestions on how to get concrete performance metrics to go and test?
Yes, so I think this is why it's extremely important when the performance engineer can work very closely with the developer, because together they can define precisely what's the expectation. The developer will create something with an expectation that it will work in a certain way. So if they are managed to collaborate and to work together with the performance engineer, then it makes perfect sense for the performance engineer just to identify those particular areas where he needs to focus in where, which are the particular requirements that they will have to test. In general terms, I believe it's just a matter of collaboration, just to get together, to get a better understanding of what's the goal, and just to drill down into the details. Not necessarily has to be, like 100% technical, but if you manage to understand and to get the idea, then you can start, take that as a starting point and then moving from there. So I think it's all about collaboration.
Very cool. And so we're actually almost go ahead. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Sorry, I was going to say just one thing that I've noticed recently, especially with kind of the emergence of things like chaos engineering, is that, we talk about the three amigos. I actually think that should really extend out to operations. I know we talk about DevOps, maybe go back the other way in an ops dev perspective. What's the kind of the end state looking like? So, there's sprint planning sessions where, operations just aren't involved. I think we should start utilizing their tool sets, and we should also, be getting their inputs of what the definition of, delivered or operating definitely is. I check out some of the requirements engineering stuff from, legends like Tom Gill, people like Dick Bender for the requirements-based testing stuff that's out there in the industry. There's some great stuff around requirements definitions. So, it's a lost art.
Absolutely. So we're at the breaking point here. No more questions, but I have one last one. I always ask all my guests on my podcast. I'm going to go around. It's just one piece of actionable advice, quick actionable advice someone could put into place right away to help them with their testing efforts, or based on your session, a quick takeaway you'd like them to take away from your session. So, Oren, let's start with you.
So I just want to add something to what Vicky just said. The collaboration between dev and QA are very, very critical in Agile. I don't know if many of our users are aware of the quality story that is part of the backlog. And just as Vicky mentioned, and I think this is a very important takeaway, as I see happening right in our R&D organization. The backlog is shared between the developers and the quality and the performance engineers, and if you will, also the documentation team. They're all running on the same backlog, and this collaboration is super important. So Octane, as if I look at the tool capabilities, supports quality story for the quality activities in the backlog side by side with the user stories and defects, which are the integral part of the agile backlog. So the collaboration between everyone in the team on the same system, or even when in sync from other systems into the one platform that can provide an end-to-end overview of the tasks of the team, of the program, of the solution. Everything comes together, and I think the important thing in Agile is this collaboration, which becomes enabled in a smart way when the tools are used in the way they're designed. And
awesome. So Archie, one piece of actual advice or key takeaway you'd like people to take away from this first day one of Vivid ADM virtual days?
I got 3 quick ones.
Sure.
Get more people involved in testing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't have them limited by their perceived skill set, because we have an interface for probably everybody. Test what matters, right? So
nice.
Focus on kind of the leading edge system of engagement, and make sure those are all tight, because that's your face to the end user and the customer. And then use your data, right? We got tons of data, especially the data that we spit out from performance testing. Yikes, there's a ton that we can use and learn from. So I'll cut it there.
Awesome. Vicky, performance testing wise, any key takeaways or actual piece of advice someone could put into place right away?
Yes. So first of all, I would like to thank everybody for joining us. It has been a fantastic opportunity to get to know about the products and the concerns from the community. So first, I will say, get to know Load Runner developer. This is a fantastic opportunity and exciting times for the Load Runner family. Finally, we have a tool available for developers. So don't be scared, just try it on. And it is also available for performance engineers. And second, remember, performance matters, specifically if you are trying to buy it either yesterday or Friday. So ensure that you are testing what it matters.
Absolutely. Renato, last parting words of wisdom. I think you're on mute again.
Oh my God. Okay, anyway. I think that there are a couple of things, right? One is a lot of people are not aware of when you have UFT1, you can actually do scriptless or codeless, if you will, using keywords and things like that. At the same time, the same tool with all the power can actually allow you to do shift to left, because if you have UFT1, you actually have UFT developer embedded in it as a license, right? So you can use UFT developer right away. The other thing is you can also do mobile testing with UFT1. You don't need UFT mobile anymore if you just want to play with it and try mobile testing on your laptop. You can actually, if you have the rights to do so, you can plug a device and actually do testing in there. And also, our AI capabilities are also in UFT1. So if you install UFT1, if you have UFT1 15, you have the directions on how you get access to all the AI technologies that Ron presented. So it's all there. You just need to start experiencing it. That will be basically my takeaway. Like, think about us as the reason why we moved to a UFT family, so people understand UFT is pervasive, right? It's meant to work as an SDK, as a tool, but it also meant to work with other SDKs if you're talking developer, and it's meant to work across all of them if you talk about AI. So that will be my takeaway, actually, that I want people to be with.
Awesome advice. Aran?
So a few things here. First of all, thank you again for a great day. I really enjoyed the feedback from the different sessions. I think that data-driven decisions is something that we are trying to educate both our customers and ourselves, and making sure that you reduce the waste of the day-to-day work and test what really matters. And this is one of our biggest missions, making sure that you will concentrate on the testing work.
Great advice. Omer?
I would repeat what I said previously. I think that the capability that we introduced in our latest releases are incredible. If you are a Micro Focus customer, upgrade to the latest, and you will discover those capabilities. As an example, you don't need Internet Explorer in order to use Quality Center, integration with all the CI, leading CI and source control management tools with ALM Octane, and the analytics capabilities and so forth. So upgrade and enjoy.
Awesome. And our Vivid president, Cyborg, anything, Jonathan, you want to leave?
Yeah, well, I'll just literally finish off by saying, a massive thank you to everyone of the Micro Focus ADM family, Archie's team, Rafi's. Yeah. You're doing a great job, guys. Thanks for taking the time to put all this material together. Of course, it wouldn't be possible without the Vivid volunteers and the board of directors. We're all volunteers as well, and obviously Joe for hosting this day one. We got day two coming up tomorrow with practitioners. You're going to see Paul and his dark arts. It's going to be fantastic content. It's exciting times, and yeah, just massive thanks to the Micro Focus guys for making this happen.
Awesome. And thanks again. It's been a great day one. And thank you so much for all your efforts and all you're doing for the community at large, because a lot of the information you gave helps everyone. So thank you so much. Appreciate you all.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.